welcome to episode 1 of College Football on the Highlight Reel. I am Jake Minardi, and here with me I have Smitty.
Just like we did last year, we're going to talk about a few most important games of each week. First of all, let's start with South Carolina versus LSU.
In my opinion, I think this was definitely the best game of the day. You know, final score 36-33. The energy was through the roof.
Especially with college game day.
Yeah, college game day was there. But in this game, South Carolina started off hot. Once again, energy was through the roof in the stadium, and they were able to jump out to a 17-point lead.
Let's talk about their defense. They came up huge with good early stops. Let's talk about how they did.
Honestly, their defense came up huge early in the game. They honestly had a chance to go up 24-0, but Sellers tried to force a throw all the way back in the end zone. That ended up being interception into a touchback. But still, fortunate enough to get into a 17-0 lead at home against a big opponent. So once again, their defense, huge stops to begin. And then I think the biggest thing for them was their running back, Raheem Sanders. I mean, he's just a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a few explosive runs for him.
Yep.
He had, and it just helped him jumpstart the offense, really.
Yeah, he had a good game. He had 19 carries, that's a lot of carries by college running back. He had 143 rushing yards, and he also had 2 TDs. So just an outstanding day for Sanders. And like you said, the defense came up clutch early. So.
Yep. And I think actually Lenora Sellers, he was having a pretty good game. Unfortunately, he had to leave in the third quarter due to an ankle injury. But 113 passing yards, 88 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns too. You know, he's able to do a little bit of both, pass the ball and spread it out with running. So honestly, I think that they might have been able to win the game if he didn't get injured. But let's just get to where he did. Third quarter before halftime, LSU, they started to find the rhythm, made it 10-17, and then once again, Lenora Sellers, he was playing good for the time he was in. A huge run, 75 yards, all the way to the house, making it 24-10.
Yep, and then right before the half, Garrett Nussmeier was able to find his guy, Karen Lacey, to end up in the end zone. So just a great throw. But 2 failed. They were going for 2, but they failed. So at half, it was 16-24. But it was a good half from both teams, offense and defense. Let's see how they came out in the third.
Yeah, Kyron Lacey, definitely the biggest threat for LSU. Huge. Not crazy, 5 receptions, 63 receiving yards and a touchdown. But just his length, now filling in. Malik Neighbors left last year, so he's got sort of the lead role at receiver. But let's just get to the third quarter now.
Like you brought up in the third, Lenora Sellers, he got hurt with an ankle, so that left Robbie Ashford to sub in for him. How did he do?
I mean, this really impacted the rest of the game for them. That along with penalties. Ashford, I'm not going to throw shade on him, but I don't think he could pass the ball as well as Sellers. They were just forced to, only looking for checkdowns or just design runs every time. And they were honestly just forced to play the field position game the whole entire time. So, I feel like
he's not used to such a high-paced game against a ranked team.
I mean, he played a little bit at Auburn 2 years ago, but definitely impacted the game. Once again, I think Sellers could have helped them win that one.
Yep, and not much went on in the rest of the third quarter, so jump into that fourth. LSU took the lead 29-24, but for a very short amount before Raheem Sanders got another touchdown for 66 yards. Just great run by Sanders, which helped the Gamecocks get back up with the lead.
Just fortunate enough that, he was having a great game. I mean, he's a beast all around. If he didn't do that, they would have been stuck. So fortunate enough that he was able to break out for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. But, South Carolina cashed in another field goal, which would be their last score of the game, making it 33-29.
Just a lot of questionable calls. What were how would you explain like those calls?
Honestly, I mean, it was rough. I mean, I'm a Carolina fan, so at first, once again, Ashford not really able to, have the passing game as much. So when he was able to pass it downfield that one time, they called an offensive PI, and they didn't even call it on the receiver. They called it on a different receiver who didn't catch the ball, but no one was able to find where the penalty was. And then another one later in the game, Nussmeier threw a pick six, and Carolina ended up taking it all the way back to the house, but that got reversed as well.
Yep.
And it was just a silly play by, I forget who it was. It was number 5, but it was just a silly play by him trying to block the quarterback. But honestly, shouldn't have been a penalty either way. He was not getting to him.
Yeah. So dramatic finish at the end. Josh Williams goes in for a touchdown, making it 36-33 with a minute left in the game.
And, Ashford did give it everything he had, completed a pass to put the Gamecocks within field goal range, but Herrera couldn't cash in within what I believe was like 50 yards out. So LSU takes it in a very controversial one. I mean, fans were not too happy about this, but now moving on.
Moving on to our next game, we're going to talk about Missouri and Boston College. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, not too crazy here. Although Boston College, did come out with a little bit of a surprise, 14-3 start.
Just they've been on it. I mean, I don't think it was really a surprise. Like they've been playing good the last 2 weeks, especially after beating Florida State.
I think after a team like Missouri though, because Florida State's been horrible.
Yeah, true. But like they did beat a ranked team in the beginning, so they do have the heat behind them. So it was a good start. So yeah, hot start for them. Missouri was eventually able to execute in the second quarter, scoring 2 field goals and a touchdown at half, making it 17-14. And then the touchdown was coming from Luther Burden. Just a good play.
Yeah, Luther Burden. Happy to see him and doing well now. No, not a crazy first 2 weeks against, not good opponents, kind of played nobody teams, but everyone was sort of looking at Luther Burden to have a breakout year this year. One of the best receivers in college football, in my opinion. But 6 receptions, 117 yards and a touchdown. Solid game for him today.
Going on to the second half, it was pretty much all Missouri. Brady Cook was able to get it in for the score, knocking down a field goal. The biggest thing was just the defense for Missouri and the way that they could just step up and just cause Boston College to turn over the ball and give it right back to the Missouri offense.
After the quick 14-3 start, really just locked BC down, kept them scoreless until about 3 minutes in the fourth quarter, where then Castellanos threw for a 38-yard touchdown. But even then, Missouri was able to hold their lead, won the game 27-21. So solid win, able to escape Boston College.
Yeah. Let's just go back to the SEC real quick. Georgia moves down to number 2 after winning 13-12 against Kentucky.
Yeah, that could have been a scare for them.
Yep. And then Texas is number 1 now, which honestly they deserve that.
Yeah, I honestly agree with that ranking. Some people think it's an overreaction, but I agree.
Especially blowing out UTSA, which we'll get into right now. How do you think that game went, Jake?
I think I know who we want to talk about. Arch Manning got in the game. Unfortunately, Quinn Ewers did go down, but, they're talking about him. He should be fine, but what a performance from Arch when he went in the game.
He had
223 passing yards.
Yeah, great performance. Sorry to butt you up. But, just a great performance by him. He had a great not debut, but, it kind of
his first full game in regular season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so 4 passing touchdowns and a huge explosive rushing touchdown.
So
Texas wins in blowout fashion, 56-7. So great to see him doing well. I mean, that just proves to you how good Texas is, because if their starting quarterback goes down, they have another one who's basically just as good.
And let's just talk about Isaiah Bond real quick. What a wide receiver he is, coming from Alabama.
Transferring from Alabama. But he stepped up in his role pretty well in Texas.
And it's gonna be a great year if Ewers comes back. Even if Manning stays in as QB1 for now, him and Bond have just a good bond together, like that they can throw the ball to each other.
I think, they're definitely going to be better off with Ewers because, they sort of been starting quarterback for a few years now.
Yep.
So definitely, but I want to see how far maybe they could go with Arch.
Yeah.
But that's what we're going to do.
That's going to do it for college football today on the highlight reel. Stay tuned to more coverage next week.
Welcome to the opening day of the highlight reel. I'm Myles Berkowitz, and this is Luke Jaclin. Today we'll be talking about the upcoming MLB playoff picture. So starting with the AL, your Yankees just unfortunately took 3 out of 4 from my Red Sox.
Yep, big wins.
Yeah.
Big wins. Just keep beating Boston. Not only does it put the Yankees with a 3-game lead over Baltimore, it also just completely knocks Boston out of the playoff race, which is huge. Just them losing, almost as enjoyable as the Yankees winning.
I mean, they really just forgot how to pitch at this point. Right after the All-Star break, we made these bullpen moves, and now all of them have like 5 ERAs or worse. It's really just terrible. I mean, I've been looking forward to a good Red Sox team for about 4 years now, and I just haven't gotten any. So, as I said, you guys now have a 3-game lead over Baltimore with about 14 games left. How do you see it shaking out, and who is your MVP and World Series prediction?
Okay, well, MVP, Aaron Judge in the AL. Pretty obvious. I mean, people are saying Bobby Witt for a little while, but I don't think that could happen. I'm just going to take the Yankees to go all the way. Like, why not at this point? They've been one of the best teams in baseball all year, so it's possible. I mean, they always usually seem to fall apart in the playoffs, but hopefully it's different this year.
Yeah, I mean, you sound like a Cowboys fan. Every year is honestly your year. But off of what you said, Judge is obviously the MVP. 51 home runs in the AL. I mean, a 218 OPS plus, that's unheard of. And just to go off of what you said, the Yankees, it's hard to win without a closer. I mean, when you have Clay Holmes, your blood pressure must rise every time he's on the mound.
He's no longer the closer, though. It's Luke Weaver now. We're done with Holmes. Never want to see Holmes close a game again.
Yeah.
And going back on Judge, he actually has 53 home runs now. You're forgetting about the 2 against Boston.
Yes.
The Grand Slam and the one last night.
Yeah,
It's actually up to 53 now.
He
And
hit
we'll just
that.
see if he could catch Bobby Witt for an average for the Triple Crown.
Yeah, he hit that last one like 450. Everyone in the stadium knew it was gone. It was terrible.
Yeah. So the NL, the closest race there is the Dodgers have a 3.5-game lead over the Padres. Who do you see ending up being the MVP in the NL? And who's going to go to the World Series from there?
Well, I have Ohtani taking the MVP in the NL. I know a lot of people are campaigning for Francisco Lindor to win it. I understand the argument. He's had a great season, especially at the shortstop position. I know his defensive metrics are incredible. He has so much range. He's really just an all-around great player. But with Ohtani, I mean, 50 homers and 50 stolen bases by season's end. You really can't debate that. It's never been done. It probably will never be done again. And he has just taken the league by storm. Even when he's not pitching this season, just imagine next season when he has a 2.5 ERA and does the same thing at the plate. But with my World Series prediction, I have the Royals going all the way this year. I think Witt is really going to carry this team. I don't think
they have enough pitching.
Well, I think Seth Lugo is going to have a great postseason. I don't know why. I think that, but he has just been phenomenal. I know he's pitched for the Mets, so he's obviously pitched in some big games. Pitched for the Padres, again, some big games. But I think he was a great signing, and I think he'll have a fantastic pitching series.
Yeah, so I thought Lindor had a chance to win MVP, but after the injury, I think it's done now. I think it's all Ohtani, all Judge. MVP isn't really a debate. Those two are going to win. And obviously the Yankees and Dodgers are 2 of the best teams in baseball, which helps. Like, that's what MVP is for, is like who's most valuable to their team, and those two are leading their teams, while the Mets are fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, you look around all sports. I mean, name me an MVP that has not made the playoffs outside of Ohtani when he was with the Angels. I mean, it really just never happens. It's really just a rare thing. Yeah, so that's all we have for this week on the highlight reel. We'll see you next week.
Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of the Highlight Reel. I'm Nick Lynch.
And I'm Rocco Coppola.
So we are going to start off the show by recapping Week 2 of the National Football League with major upsets across the country, which means a lot of survivor pools getting broken.
Shattered.
Yeah, The New Orleans Saints go on the road to Dallas to defeat the Cowboys in a big score. The Raiders get a last-minute field goal in Baltimore to beat the Ravens, and the Ravens start the season 0-2. Tampa Bay gets their revenge from the playoffs in Detroit against the Lions, and what happened to the 49ers? They lose to the Vikings, and Minnesota starts the season 2-0.
Oh, goodness me. San Francisco, when will you ever change? You lose to the Jets. Actually, I'm sorry. You beat the Jets. You dominate the Jets in your opening match, and then you lose to Sam Darnold 6 days later. Listen, that's not a recipe for success. It's still early on. We'll see what happens there. But I'm more worried about the injuries. Forget about what happened to the Niners. The injuries in the league right now, they're spreading like an epidemic.
Yeah, we already had Christian McCaffrey start the season on injured reserve.
That's right.
with an Achilles
McCaffrey.
injury.
Yeah, that's right. McCaffrey went down with an Achilles injury, a surprise Achilles injury right before the season started. Other names include the following. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen.
Isaiah Pacheco with an ankle injury. He's out for 6 weeks. Russell Wilson started the season with that calf injury. Tua Tagovailoa, who just got put on injured reserve for the Miami Dolphins with a concussion. Justin Jefferson with a quad injury. However, it doesn't look that serious. That's a good news. Cooper Kupp with an ankle injury. Joe Mixon with an ankle injury. And Jordan Love, who suffered that knee injury in Brazil.
Thank God it was not a torn ACL.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to talk about our game of the weeks. Why not? Because that's what we do.
Yeah. So for my game of the week, I'm going to go with the Monday night game, Atlanta and Philadelphia. It was a back-and-forth game. You know, I think the Falcons' defense really hung in there in Philly, and they were able to pull it off with a win, with a last drive touchdown for the Falcons to give them the lead.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Atlanta. They came back. I thought Saquon's drop at the end was really, really bad. I mean, you have the game right there. You got to catch it. You got to go get the first down. End of story. My game of the week, however, Bengals-Chiefs. I mean, like, was there really any other doubt? Like, these two deliver every time Burrow and Pat step on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, you could get on the refs for helping the Chiefs out. In my opinion, it was the right call. But let's be honest, if the roles switched, the Bengals wouldn't have gotten that call regardless.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was definitely a clear pass interference, no doubt about that.
Yeah, no way. Like, it's just, like, you got to just know where you're at. Yeah, I wouldn't. Would I have thrown the flag there? I'm not quite sure. I don't know, but it's over and done with now. Cincinnati's 0-2 for the third straight season, and the Chiefs, once again, 2-0.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us on the NFL, but we'll see you next week to recap Week 3.
Hello everyone, I am Andrew Mirzaaghasi, and today I will be talking about soccer for the highlight reel. It's been a while, so let's get right on to it. So, in the Premier League, we have Arsenal's last game against Brighton ended with a 1-1 tie, but mostly that's not what everyone's talking about. That game. That game's highlight goes to the ridiculous second yellow card against Declan Rice for apparently tackling another player, even though one of the Brighton players, clearly as day, you can clearly screenshot it, kicked him in the ankle. However, he was not given any yellow card whatsoever, and Declan Rice was out of the game. Even with Declan Rice being out of the game, Arsenal was still able to win their next game against Tottenham, 0-1, which is sad that it resulted like that. However, in recent news, we have Man City having a hearing about 115 charges against them. 63% of those charges are financials, in which it is about lying how much they paid for the players, and the 37% is the team breaking the rules in the EA and the Premier League. This goes back to 2009 to February 2023. There will be more information about this around November. Now, of course, in top-of-the-line tradition, even though I'm not on it anymore, we have the Premier League standings, as Man City is 12 points, Arsenal is 10 points, Newcastle is 10 points, Liverpool, 9 points, Aston Villa is also 9 points. Now, as you could tell, it is because of goal difference, so that's why it goes first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Now, the last thing we'll be talking about is a little bit different. It is the World Cup qualifiers, specifically in South America, as they have began, and we have the 2026 World Cup taking place in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. So I would like to give the standings for that. Of course, we have first is Argentina, which is obvious because they won the Copa America. In second, we have Uruguay. Third, we have Colombia. Surprisingly, in fourth is Ecuador, and fifth is Brazil. So Ecuador coming out in the top 5. I'm actually quite surprised, and I'm kind of proud for them because they were able to give Argentina a run for their money and make them go to penalties. However, they lost, but they put up a good fight for that Copa America. So, thank you for watching the highlight reel. Tune in next week for a highlight of your favorite sports right here on the highlight reel.